Normal children develop crawling in a symmetric fashion. This is a very asymmetric crawling pattern, and that is another characteristic that we observed more often in the children who later developed schizophrenia.
Las observaciones de Walker no pueden ser utilizadas para predecir la esquizofrenia, aunque estos movimientos excéntricos aparecen con más frecuencia en niños que más tarde desarrollan la enfermedad. También pueden verse en niños normales. Pero el estudio de Walker se relaciona con una teoría que indica que la esquizofrenia es causada por eventos que tienen lugar durante las primeras etapas del desarrollo del cerebro, tal vez meses antes de la concepción. Cuando las neuronas nacen, toman su lugar en el cerebro en desarrollo y luego se unen unas con otras en una intrincada red de conexiones. Es entonces cuando los científicos ven la posibilidad del error, la construcción genética del cerebro mismo, deficiente nutrición durante el embarazo o una infección viral. Todo esto puede tener efectos devastadores. Cualquiera sea la causa, los científicos especulan que la lesión se encuentra inactiva hasta la adolescencia, cuando la corteza prefrontal atraviesa su maduración final.
Schizophrenia could be a disease in which this last developmental stage is run amok, and we end up literally with the wrong connections in the brain.
Courtney, we're going to bring a monitor over in front of you that you'll be viewing throughout the study.
Okay.
La esquizofrenia no solo desorganiza la parte pensante del cerebro, sino que también puede tener un fuerte impacto en las emociones.
Courtney, next you'll be viewing some slides that most people find to be pleasant or positive in content. Just relax and watch.
Para probar las regiones emocionales del cerebro, los investigadores muestran una serie de fotografías en una pantalla y utilizan tecnología avanzada de imágenes para medir la respuesta del cerebro. El cerebro normal responde a estas estimulantes imágenes, activando regiones del cerebro que procesan emociones. Estas mismas regiones responden escasamente en muchas personas con esquizofrenia.
People with schizophrenia will very often say, I've lost the capacity to feel related to other people in the world, or even related to the world at all. It's both an intellectual emptiness and an emotional emptiness. And it's one of the factors that drives people with schizophrenia to feel like taking their lives, to feel like committing suicide, because they feel as if they've lost themselves.
The thing that really crushed me was the lack of motivation, the negative symptoms of schizophrenia, the flat affect, the emotionlessness, the apathy. Those were the things that really got to me.
He would talk frequently about not being able to feel anything. He could feel no sorrow. He could feel no joy. There was just nothing there. No sorrow, just empty. That's what he would describe, just empty and black.
I didn't want to live the life that I'd been given anymore. It was so contrary to what I wanted that I didn't want it anymore.
When I heard that Courtney had attempted suicide, I was not surprised. He had talked about it, he has had ideas about suicide, and he's one of those individuals that understands he has an illness and it's not likely to go away. That he hadn't succeeded was perhaps what surprised me the most, because he succeeds in most things that he's done in life up to this schizophrenia.
I wrote in my suicide note that why take death seriously if the quality of life is poor? And that thought really stuck with me for a long time.
Aunque la esquizofrenia le ha robado a Courtney su vida emocional, otros adolescentes con esquizofrenia también sufren de alucinaciones, imágenes y voces aterradoras que no existen.
June 17, 2000. Dear Diary, it's been strange. It wasn't a good day. I'm so depressed, I hate myself. Things would be better if, well, you know, gotta go now. Love, Sabrina Yeskel.
Sabrina Yeskel era una vivaz niña de 12 años cuando por primera vez se fue de campamento. Una vez allá comenzó a escuchar voces.
They were loud. The tone of voice was a deep, heavy-set voice. They've said to kill yourself. They've said, I'm not worth living.
La madre de Sabrina corrió en su ayuda, pero casi no reconoció a su hija.
She started screaming, stop. And I said, what, Sabrina? What's going on? She said, he's trying to kill me. So I pulled off the road, tried to hold her and tell her everything was okay. We made it home, but she came in the house screaming. The man was following her everywhere, and he was trying to choke her.
A Sabrina se le diagnosticó esquizofrenia. Ahora, a los 14 años, ya lleva 2 años luchando por mantenerse en contacto con la realidad. Aún escucha voces que la acechan y las alucinaciones la persiguen en sus horas de vigilia.
Sabrina often sees a black hooded dressed figure that sometimes will just stare at her, sometimes it talks to her, sometimes it tries to touch her, sometimes it tries to kill her. Sometimes when she's struggling with this, they begin almost chanting, kill yourself, do it, do it, do it.
Come on in.
All right.
Have a seat.
En la Universidad de Carolina del Norte, los científicos investigan cómo las alucinaciones pueden abrumar el cerebro adolescente y prueban nuevas drogas para ayudar a tratar estos síntomas psicóticos.
Could you look right at that keyhole over there? I'm going to check your eyes out, if that's okay. You just look straight.
Isaac Wallace comenzó a escuchar voces cuando fue por primera vez a la universidad. Cuando las voces se hicieron más aterradoras y sus pensamientos más paranoicos, fue finalmente hospitalizado por su propia protección.
When Isaac walked in the hospital, he was completely wrapped up in hallucinatory experiences he was having, the voices he was hearing, the beliefs he had developed to explain the voices.
Whenever I'd hear voices, I just completely black out what was in the real world and just think about what the voices were saying and talk to them.
Las voces que Isaac escuchó eran perturbadoras porque parecían muy reales. Sin embargo, eran producidas por su propio cerebro defectuoso.
When you see psychosis, you realize that we don't hear with our ears. We hear with our brain. We don't see with our eyes. We see with our brain. And so when the brain misfires, you can have experiences of hearing voices that sound just like they're coming from outside your head.
En un cerebro normal, las ondas de sonido recibidas por el oído viajan como impulsos eléctricos y químicos hacia la parte encargada del oído en el cerebro, la corteza auditiva, generando una corriente de señales que viajan hasta las regiones pensantes del cerebro, donde son interpretadas. Los científicos creen que en la psicosis, las regiones pensantes fallan. Las neuronas se disparan de manera caótica y desorganizada, creando sonidos que no tienen conexión con el mundo exterior. El resultado, la percepción de sonidos que no existen.
So when the brain misfires, when the circuitry in your brain is out of whack, it'll be just as if you're hearing the radio on.
Los científicos teorizan que la psicosis es causada en parte por problemas con un químico del cerebro llamado dopamina, uno de sus neurotransmisores. Moléculas que envían mensajes de célula a célula a través de una pequeña abertura, la sinapsis. En el cerebro normal, la dopamina funciona estimulando receptores en la neurona que tiene por blanco, generando una cascada de reacciones eléctricas y químicas. En el cerebro psicótico, por razones que los científicos aún tratan de entender, los niveles de dopamina se exceden, sobreestimulando a los receptores y haciendo estragos en la habilidad del cerebro para enviar señales claras y precisas. Desde los años 50, los medicamentos para tratar la psicosis han sido el tratamiento estandarizado para aliviarla. Por Isaac, han hecho maravillas.
I'd say within 3 weeks, the voices really, they dropped maybe in half to maybe 75% less than what I was hearing. Yeah, it has brought me out of, my own little world and, brought me back into reality. I can hold a job now, and I think I can go back to school as well because my memory's back and my concentration is back. I think I might do better than I did before.
Los medicamentos para tratar la psicosis la alivian reduciendo el impacto de la dopamina en la neurona, ya que obstruyen los receptores sensibles a esta. Con una estimulación de neuronas disminuida, los síntomas psicóticos disminuyen y con frecuencia desaparecen.
We were lucky. We found the right medicine for Isaac. And at this point, I think he's had a almost complete recovery. He's back to his old self, his old Isaac.
Los medicamentos para el tratamiento de la psicosis no curan la esquizofrenia. Isaac deberá tomarlos por el resto de su vida. Pero en algunas personas las drogas no tienen ningún efecto. La esquizofrenia varía de una persona a otra, y Sabrina tiene una variante más resistente de la enfermedad.
When Sabrina first became seriously sick 2 years ago, it seemed like we had 100 possible medicines to try, and certainly one of them would work. And yet, we discover that they haven't worked, and it's getting very scary, because we don't have many left. And as a parent, it's incredibly difficult to watch your child suffer. But it's also, I see her courage, I really do. I see her fighting this every day, and I'm incredibly proud of her.
I'll remember it later. That's who taught me. It was my dad, and it was...
A Courtney, los medicamentos lo han ayudado a recuperarse del vacío emocional que una vez enfrentó. Sus pensamientos suicidas ya no están. Aún lucha contra su enfermedad, pero continúa su vida y recientemente ingresó a la universidad.
I'd rather have lived the life that I live right now, as confusing and painful as it has been, than to have never been born at all.
I think he has learned a lot about how fragile life is. I think he has learned a lot about what is really important.
Cada año, a 300,000 estadounidenses se les diagnostica esquizofrenia. La mayoría desarrolla sus primeros síntomas al final de la adolescencia, pero millones de otros adolescentes son vulnerables a otro peligro. La adolescencia es una etapa de creciente independencia. Conforme la corteza prefrontal madura, los adolescentes comienzan a explorar el mundo por sí solos. Pero su juicio y raciocinio aún no están del todo desarrollados, lo que hace que la experimentación con drogas adictivas y alcohol sea especialmente peligrosa. 12,5 millones de adolescentes estadounidenses sufren de serios problemas por consumo de drogas o adicción.
Adolescence is a time when kids are exposed to all kinds of influences in the world, some of them terribly negative, like drugs of abuse. Addiction is a disease of the brain that affects thinking, emotion, and behavior. In that sense, it's like many other serious brain diseases, like depression, like schizophrenia. Only here, the pathogen are the drugs of abuse themselves, acting on a vulnerable brain.
I never thought that I would become an addict, or even thought about being an addict until I really started doing coke. And then it kind of dawned on me, I'm doing cocaine now. It's not just weed, it's not just alcohol, you know. This is getting worse and worse.
Jessie Gallagher comenzó a experimentar con alcohol a los 11 años. Probó la marihuana poco después y luego una serie de drogas adictivas. A los 16 años era adicta a la cocaína.
She had to have it to function. She had to have it to get out of